as a seal of the Dharma. It is the same in regard to the view of self and the other views up to that of peace. In the Prajnaparamita, the Buddha condemns attachment to the wrong views of impermanence, etc., but does not condemn the fact of accepting nothing, of adopting nothing. Having acquired this tathata of dharmas, one penetrates into the dharma dhatu, one eliminates all opinions and does not conceive any further beliefs, for such is its essence. Single quote. Thus, when a small child sees the moon reflected in the water, he goes into the water to grab the moon. Unable to grab it, he is very sad. A wise person then tells him, such is its essence, so don't be sad. Single quote. Finally, to completely penetrate the dharma dhatu is bhutakoti. 3. Tathata, dharma dhatu and bhutakoti in the canonical sutras. Question. In the system of the Sravakas, why do they not speak of the tathata, dharma dhatu and bhutakoti, whereas they are often spoken of in many places in the Mahayana system? Answer. There are some places in the system of the Sravakas where they are also spoken of, but these places are rather rare. 1. Bhiksu Sutra. Thus it is said in the Tsa Ahan. There was a certain bhiksu who questioned the Buddha. Was the 12-membered dependent origination made by the Buddha or was it made by others? The Buddha said to the bhiksu, I myself did not make the 12-membered dependent origination and it was not made by others. Whether there are Buddhas or whether there are no Buddhas, the manner of being of the dharmas, the dharma nature, the stability of dharmas, is eternal. That is to say, this being, that is, by the production of this, that is produced. That is to say, the formations have ignorance as condition, consciousness has the formations as condition, and so on up to old age and death, which is followed by grief, lamentation, suffering, sadness and torment. This not being, that is not. By the cessation of this, that ceases. That is to say, the cessation of ignorance results in the cessation of the formations. By the cessation of the formations consciousness ceases, and so on up to the cessation of old age and death, by means of which grief, lamentation, suffering, sadness and torment cease. This law of production and cessation, whether there is a Buddha or there is not a Buddha, is eternal. This is the place where it is a question of the tathata. 2. Sariputta Simhanada Sutra. In the Tsa Ahan, in the Cholifu Che Tsu Heu King. It is said, the Buddha questions Sariputra about the meaning of a verse. 3 times he asked him and 3 times Sariputra was unable to answer. After the Buddha had given Sariputra a brief instruction, the Buddha went back to the vihara to meditate. Then Sariputra rejoined the bhiksus and said to them, as long as the Buddha did not give me his approval, I did not reply. But now, for 7 days and 7 nights without stopping, I myself would be able to furnish him with explanations on that subject. Then a certain bhiksu said to the Buddha. After the Buddha had returned to the vihara to meditate, Sariputra uttered the lion's roar and boasted. The Buddha said to the bhiksu, what Sariputra said is true and not false. Why? Because Sariputra has penetrated well the dharma dhatu. In the Sravaka system, the nature of production and cessation of all dharmas is considered to be tathata, whereas in reality it is necessary to eliminate all views in order to discover the true nature of dharmas. In the passage cited here it was a question of the dharma dhatu. 8b. Question. In the passages of the Bhiksu Sutra and the Sariputta Simhanada Sutra, which you have just cited, it speaks only of tathata and dharma dhatu. Where then is it a question of bhutakoti? Answer. As there were reasons to mention these 2 things, namely, the tathata and the dharma dhatu, these 2 sutras cited here spoke of them. But since there was no reason to mention the bhutakoti, they did not speak of it. Question. But the bhutakoti is nirvana, and it is with nirvana in mind that the Buddha preached the holy 12-membered texts. Why then do you claim that there was no reason to speak about the bhutakoti? Answer. There are all kinds of names to designate nirvana. Sometimes it is called detachment, sometimes perfection, sometimes deliverance. These synonyms serve to designate the Bhuttakoti. If the sutra cited here did not use the latter term, we say it is because there was no reason to do so. 4. Supplementary explanations. 1. Let us return to the sarvadharmanam tathata manner of being of all dharmas. At the moment when dharmas are not yet arisen and at the moment of their arising dharmas are thus. Once arisen, whether they are past or present, they are also thus. This sameness of dharmas throughout the three times is called tathata. Question. Dharmas not yet arisen do not have birth. When present, they have this dharma of birth and are capable of functioning, for present dharmas have a nature of activity. The recalling of past dharmas is called the past. The three times, each of which is different, cannot be truly identical. Why then do you claim that the tathata is the identity of the three times? Answer. In the true nature of dharmas, the three times are identical and not different. As is said in the Prajnaparamita Sutra in the Dupeen chapter. The past tathata, the future tathata, the present tathata and the tathata of the Tathagata are one and the same tathata and are no different. Single quote. Moreover, previously, in the present louen-yi, I have refuted the arising-dharma. If there is no arising, the future and the present are also without arising. Then how would the three times not be identical? What is more, past time is without beginning, future time is without end and present time is without duration. This is why the identity of the three times is called the tathata of dharmas. 2. Having cultivated the tathata, the practitioner enters into the immense dharmadhatu. The dharmadhatu is nirvana. It is indivisible and eludes futile proliferation. The dharmadhatu is the fundamental element. Just as in yellow rock there is gold ore, just as in white rock there is silver ore, so, in all the dharmas of the world, there is the nirvana ore. By their wisdom, their skillful means, their morality and their meditative absorptions, the Buddhas and the saints ripen beings and lead them to find this nirvana dharmadhatu. Beings with sharp faculties know that all dharmas are dharmadhatu. These beings are like people having the super knowledge of magic, are able to transform bricks into gold. Beings of weak faculties carefully scrutinize dharmas and finally find the dharmadhatu in them. They are like workers in a big foundry who break up rock and finally find gold. Moreover, the waters that naturally flow downward end up all together in the ocean, finally all becoming of one taste, the taste of salt. It is the same for dharmas there.